Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 Daily. This show is brought to you by Paddy Power. A book is a website and an app. If you gamble, please do so responsibly, and remember to do so with Paddy Power. So, tonight we are going to have a look at the remaining fixtures for Liverpool, how quick and thick and fast they come, and we're going to do our best Mystic Megs and try to predict the scores and, if possible, the goal scorers of these games. Joining me tonight, I've got Chris Brack, I've got Peter Phillips, and I've got Shawnee Lawson. Lads, thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll have a bit of crack tonight. Chris, how are you feeling? Do you think you can do a good Nostradamus on this, or what are you thinking?
You want to be a vampire?
No, Nostradamus. He predicted
I'm not
stuff.
for that too. You mad thing. Nostradamus.
No, same thing, isn't it?
If you want to be a vampire, be a vampire. You know, I'm not judging you.
I feel like I feel half asleep at the moment. Don't worry. Well, yeah, it should be fine. Crack. I've got Shawnee, so he's a quizmaster, so he'll give me all the answers.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's true. Shawnee, how are you feeling? Do you think you've got this in the bag with Chris there? You can out predict me and Peter?
Considering how good the team is, having a look at the fixtures here, it's hard to see where we drop points in the run-in, you know what I mean? I was having a look there at kind of what's at stake, and we need the 6 for the title, and I think after that then Klopp might use it as a little bit of an exercise to close out the season, so we'll see. We don't know really. I think we're short the 3 games a week more than anyone else will come up against, so that might go in our favour.
It's a very good point. Yeah, it's something that we should be able to manipulate and get through. Peter, what are you thinking yourself? Have I got the right teammate here to be predicting all these scores? Have I got some sort of inside knowledge on how the Reds are going to do in these games, or what?
No inside knowledge, but yeah, you can have my thoughts on it. And I was just doing my scorers actually today in work for the last remaining fixtures. Got to pick 5 each week, and I thought I'm just going to go with the single 5 and then change it as and when due to like injury suspensions. So it's because obviously the game's coming around thick and fast. I'm not going to be wanting to change and things like that. So yeah, fingers crossed we'll have a good go at predicting these scores and results for the Reds. Yeah.
Excellent stuff. That's great. We'll get started now in a sec. So the show is going out for anyone that's listening. The show will be going out tonight. It's on the usual on YouTube, on Periscope. If you're watching it on Periscope, if I just suggest maybe giving YouTube a chance, go over, have a look at that, subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon and get all the notifications. It'll just you won't miss any shows that way. So it's a nice way of getting all our shows in for that huge sum of €0. So you know you can't go wrong. You know it makes sense. Lads, we've all sort of touched on it there. The games, I was looking at the dates. We've got 9 games left, and the biggest hurdle I think on all these is the short gap between each game. So we're looking at Everton is obviously the first game back on the 21st of June, and then we're into the second game 3 days later. And we do have a week's break, but then they come thick and fast. And I think that could be the big issue in the sense that the squad may be impacted with injuries and all, but we might just see players that haven't figured and younger players getting more of a run out, which isn't a bad thing either. We're in a very envious position, I think, compared to a lot of the other teams. You know, we're going in here looking for 2 wins. I think we'll get them. And that's all we have. The pressure is off. So it's a surreal situation that we find ourselves in. Peter, what are you thinking? Are you thinking that it's just going to be wrapped up quickly, or do you see any little speed bumps along the way before we go into each one individually?
Keith, I honestly think that this is going to be wrapped up within the first couple of weeks. I honestly do. I just think they're going to go all out to get these 2 wins that they need to be crowned champions, and then after that, they can relax, can't they? Take the foot off the gas, introduce a few of the younger players into Klopp's system, the likes of Elliott, Jones, Williams, people like that. Hoover, who played against Blackburn yesterday. You're going to see a lot of these youngsters who are going to be starting to be integrated into Klopp's squad during the remainder of the games once the title has been dealt, I think.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And Shawnee, if, as Peter just mentioned there about Hoover getting a goal yesterday, and if we look at that Blackburn performance, I know that we didn't see the match as such, but we saw the goals and we've read the reports. Does that give us a clue into any team selections coming up, do you think? Or, was it just giving the lads a run and then we'll see where they go? Like, for example, do you see Keanu Hoover getting much of the games between now and the end of the season? Do you see any of the other young guys that came in, Nico Williams, Curtis Jones, any of these lads getting good games? Or was it just get a few minutes in their legs and see how they go? Or do you think that might be a little glimpse of what we see going forward?
No, I think probably by the sub goalkeepers, I think you're going to see everybody getting minutes in the last 9 games here. Because like Peter said, we only need the 6 points. So after then, it's kind of free reign. And then when you look at the fixtures we have, we're playing a load of dead rubbers teams who are just in the middle of the table, who are just languishing really in limbo, who probably just want to get away for a few weeks and have a holiday. So, like, there's no reason why you won't see Elliott mixed in with the force team some games, and you might see Nico Williams getting dropped in at right back at Curtis Jones. Like, they'll be all used sparingly, I'd imagine. And one thing I noticed this year from the cup games when we were using younger squads is that the identity and style of football doesn't really change anymore, regardless of who's in the lineup. And for years and years, Liverpool haven't had that. Like, I remember us playing Carling Cup games, and it'd be like watching a completely different side now. But it's drilled from top to bottom now, the style of football that we want to play. So if you're throwing the likes of Hoover in at right back or centre back beside Van Dijk, or Larouci in the original back four, just in place of Robertson, not much is going to change really. Only for there's fresh legs coming in with a point to prove. So I think everyone is going to get a run out here and look sort of like a coronation as well. You know what I mean? Because Klopp will want to make up the number so people get league medals as well. So I think everyone will get a run out.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's 5 league games they have to get, whether they start or come on as a sub, to be eligible for the medal. So it'll be interesting to see. And Chris, Shawnee did touch on a good point there. When you see the Carling Cup sides now, it's 11 changes, or it's some of the first team maybe coming back from injury and are a bit rusty and not sharp, and maybe 6 or 7 young lads. But we could see where it's a totally different situation now, where you could have the first choice team, for want of a better word, and a Larouci put in there, or a Curtis Jones, rather than them going in with 6 or 7 other young lads, putting them into the first team with little or no pressure. It's a nice way. It's a nice problem to have, isn't it?
It is a nice problem to have. I mean, I think for the first 3 games, Everton, Palace and City, I think he'll treat it like he does when they come back from the summer break. He'll probably play the same 11, go all out to try and smash getting the 6 points, and then he'll just want his best team against City. I think Villa might be a bit like what we do in the derby, where you'll see like a random 6-7 changes here. Shaqiri might actually arise from the dead just to play 1 game, and then we'll never see him again. And then after that, I think it'd just be the odd change. I don't think it'd be loads. I mean, I think Curtis Jones and that will maybe just get like half an hour here, half an hour there. I'll be surprised if they start many, because I think they're sort of about talking next season starting in September. So it's going to be a very short summer turnaround. So I think he's going to sort of keep the rhythm going, keep that sort of things going. I think the one you may see a bit more of is maybe more of a Keita or Minamino, who they're not really the more first teamers who just need games. I think they're the two that I think hopefully should benefit from these next 9, because at some point Keita's got to kick on, and he hasn't kicked on yet. And after 2 years, you've got to do a bit more than flashes. You've got to start showing that level of consistency and a bit more resilience in his game. So
yeah, I think that's the main thing, isn't it? The resilience, the durability with Keita is what really does hold him back. He shows flashes and then he's out, and it's an innocuous challenge that he might get, something that'll keep someone else out for about 20 minutes, keeps him out for 6 weeks, and it can be frustrating with Naby. I'm a fan, but you only have so much patience.
The different players, but I mean, the example you use Henderson against Barca. I thought he knackered his knee, and from all accounts, he'd done a good job at damaging his knee, but he played through the pain barrier. I'm not saying you have to play through the pain barrier, but I just think sometimes when you get these slight needles, slight knocks, there are ones you can play through if you want to. Yeah. And I don't know whether he can or he can't. The one that got me was Napoli. couple of years ago, went off on a stretcher, back spasms, looked at bad injuries on the bench the next game. I'm a bit like, if you get stretched off, I'm a bit suspicious when you're on the bench the next game. It's not really normal.
Yeah, it's frustrating, all right, with Naby, but hopefully he can, because I think we all want him to succeed. We all want, we all see there's a player in there, and nothing would please us more than to have a midfield option with all the tools that he has. If he could bring it on a consistent basis, and this could be a perfect chance for them, as you've said, and for Minamino to get them games. As we said, the pressure isn't going to be on them, and it'll just be a nice chance to play their game, express themselves, and put themselves in a position that, I hate saying it, and someone's just said it in the comments there, Keita could be like a new signing, and he's 2 years with us. I mean, he's a year before that waiting on him. We're so much waiting on Naby Keita, but he could be like a new signing, and Minamino could be like a new signing next summer. And people hate hearing that when it's a player already there, but it's true. It could happen. So, look, we'll hopefully we'll see.
How's he gone?
Can't hear him. Can you?
No, I think he's frozen. So,
No.
He's right. But that's who we're sort of looking for, isn't it? We're looking for like the Minaminos to hopefully kick out. I mean, Minamino, he's probably the more difficult position. He came to a side that was flying. There wasn't really a place for to drop him in. And unfortunately, his first sort of chance in the game came away at Wolves, which is a bit of a brutal. Welcome to English football. Welcome to English football, Wolves. It's hard though.
Yeah, and he would have been one of the players who probably benefited as well from the small break in the other way, because he would have had more time then to you're seeing like the Zoom calls and the likes of everything that the squad was doing. Things like that just bring the squad back together in that way. So, like, you think Keita as well, any niggling injury he had, he's had to be sitting out for 3 months now. I can't imagine whatever they were doing at home was too strenuous either. So, out of all the teams in the Premier League, although all it did was prolong our wait to be Premier League champions, like, we had our hairs being pulled out every other day because we didn't know what the story was. But when you look at it in hindsight, they were all resting up and charging up the batteries, because our front three needed that. And we had, like, Henderson was in and out of the squad with Knox coming up to, and Salah wasn't 100% fit now. So you'd like to think that we have literally everybody ready to go now for these last 9 games.
Yeah, you hope so. You'd like to think with the medical staff, because they're normally pretty good with this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
is we're quite good at getting players on the pitch and sort of identifying these little niggles. Near the end, last year, Sturridge was available a lot more. Maybe not picked, but he's available a lot more. And Naby seems to be one of the few that we've still got in the squad where they can't quite seem to nail down why he keeps picking up these niggling injuries. So hopefully, maybe that's something that they sort of ironed out.
I think as well, just knowing the way Klopp and the medical staff operate, I'd imagine that for these 9 games, every single player probably knows how many minutes that they're going to play in the team. I'd imagine that this is all already being drawn up, because we only see the few bits on the inside training, and then we see the 90 minutes on a Saturday or a Sunday or whenever that the game is. But there's a science behind all of this. And I reckon the man management now for the next 9 games will be down to a T, because like you said, Chris, the football is back in September. So Klopp will probably be thinking of a rollover. Look, you're probably going to get a 1 or 2 week break, holiday away, wherever, but when you come back, you're going to be straight back into it, sort of thing,
Yeah, and even with the holiday,
they're
probably not going to go abroad.
Yeah,
because you have a 2 week quarantine if you come back in the UK. So even for the players, they're going to have 2 weeks off. You can't really escape, because there's nowhere in the UK they can go where people don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a different thing for the guys to try and get used to, I would think. Not just us. I mean, all clubs have got that issue as well.
It's going to be challenging for them all, I suppose, isn't it, when it comes into that? Just a quick question on the screen there. Rumours going around about Coutinho wanting to come back. Quick one, would you take him back, lads?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think if you're using Coutinho in the same role as you're using Shaqiri, where he probably plays more minutes, You can't tell me that you wouldn't take that, regardless of what's gone on in the past. People need to forget like the tribalism of football and this, that, and the other. Like all of them lads are there. Coutinho realised he's made a mistake. The fella at the end of the day was a South American player going to play for Barcelona. Like you don't get in the way of those things. Look, he didn't go out the right way, but you need to think like you're seeing his agent there on the Sky Sports Football Morning Show. No angel either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Coutinho's a hell of a footballer, and if the touted price is the real price, well then I think we should definitely be looking into it. That's just me. I understand some people are objecting to it, but I can understand.
I think the price could be key. The price could be the key thing. When he was getting rumoured to be available for 80 million, I was always sort of sceptical that we'd have paid that for a player of his age. And, you know, I don't think Klopp would have maybe been into that. We'd have been breaking our transfer record. But when you're talking about 40 million, I think it becomes a lot more appealable of a signing, you know, and it certainly won't. You know, it can be done in the sense that there's probably money still out to Barcelona, so cash wise it's probably not the hardest deal to do. It might be something that he could see happening. Peter, do you see any legs in that one, or would you take him, or how do you feel?
Hey, I'd welcome him back with open arms. I think he's an absolutely fantastic footballer, world-class player, and he was brilliant for Liverpool. And it was just the way that he left the club, wasn't it, under the cloud, and sort of feigned a back injury, didn't need to say, and put in a transfer request. And I just think that burnt so many bridges with him that on the possibility of a return, because the likes Jurgen Klopp and the club, they're not going to want us to be seen as in run over, rush by somebody who's gone, oh yeah, dude, I just want to leave, let them, and then all of a sudden he wants to come back. I just think Liverpool and Klopp are far too strong for that now. They're in far too strong a position to welcome Coutinho back. Although personally, my choice would be come back tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. And Chris, what about yourself?
I'm skeptical. It's true. Purely on football ability, football talent. Yeah, you'd be stupid not to. He's better than any of the other things we've got with the squad, especially to be the fourth attacker or to switch formations. He gives us all that. The only thing, look, it's whether Klopp has got the up with him or not, which is a big thing. The only good thing he has for not bringing out, which Klopp can use, is he can show him as the example to other players, going, if you want to act the maggot and go, you can. There's the prime example of, if it goes wrong, you're buggered, really. Yeah. And, you know, that could be the thing. You know, if someone like a Mane or a Salah get the head turn, you can just say, go. You can go if you want. But you could end up the next Philip Coutinho. In other words, within 6 months to a year, you're being palmed around everywhere, and it's not quite the move you want, where here you're loved. So there is that character. I mean,
Klopp said, didn't he, before? Just before he left, he said to him, "If you stay here, they'll build a statue of you." Although we don't want to really talk about statues at this point. They said you can build a statue for you, or you can go and just be another player in Barcelona's squad. You just don't 1 to 11. You're not nothing special. So I think Jurgen Klopp absolutely knew the situation of what could have happened, and unfortunately, it's happened to Phil Coutinho, and he's been farmed out to Bayern Munich last season, hasn't he? It looks like Barcelona have washed the hands of him now, and they don't want him. They're offering him to all sorts of Premier League teams, and I think personally he could end up at Paris Saint-Germain. I think that's a club that could likely be interested in Coutinho. The Neymar's there as well, and a Brazilian teammate. They've got the money to spend, so I think somewhere like a PSG or the likes of that would be the next destination for Coutinho.
I suppose Newcastle could be an option if they become cash rich as well.
Yeah, the other option that makes him a bit more appealing now to probably last year is the talk now is Barca wanted to subsidise a significant chunk of his wages, which again then helps us with our situation. I mean, I know it's not a transfer show, but they have talked about other players who are open to leave Liverpool, your Wilsons, your Shaqiri, your Lovrens, and we're saying we won't get the money that we would have got for them. But I looked down before, there's about 12 players who can leave this summer who are on loan or don't really have any future in Liverpool and never really going to touch the first team. You're not telling me if you got rid of those 12 even for small fees, they all tot up, and maybe that's all you need.
Look,
to cover the fee.
That could be it.
People are talking about the Coutinho deal happening. Whether I want it to happen, I'd like to see him back. But the thing is, it's never going to happen, not even from a financial standpoint, because you bet your bottom dollar, Michael Edwards is already looking for the next Coutinho. He's not going to bring him back because at the end of the day,
the thing is too much.
Moneyball is still in effect there. So they bring Coutinho back there. He's a depreciating asset as soon as you take him back from the minute you get him. Because what's he now? He's 28. He comes back. He's not going to get another big move away from Liverpool because he wouldn't take one. So there's no real value in bringing him back only to be a squad player in that sense.
Unless it's a loan, that's what I'm saying. If it's a loan deal, that's what it might. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking.
But imagine Michael Edwards is looking at probably scouting someone who we've never even heard of, and you never know. Look, the next Coutinho might be in the squad. I made the point on Twitter the other day about bringing him back, and then someone made a brilliant counterpoint saying that you're going to bring Coutinho back on a big wage to stunt the growth of the likes of Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones, and you have to think, well, maybe that's very true, You
have to roll the dice unless you're getting an option on a player. I think that's really going to be a transcending player in the team, that's going to go in and really stamp into the fourth team. And I'm thinking, if someone's mentioned Hosam Award in the comments there, and I think you could bring him in, and he could become like a key midfield player for you. For Coutinho, I don't think they will. They're probably looking at the likes of Dominic Soboslai at Salzburg as a number 10. He was on the cusp of becoming great rather than bringing back a Philippe Coutinho. So that's how I feel with it as well. So lads, what we'll do, we'll get on with trying to do these predictions because I'm already keeping this 20 odd minutes and we haven't even started yet. So when the games come back, right, so what we're going to do, we're going to split into two teams here. It's going to be myself and Peter, and it's going to be Chris and Shawnee. And we're going to look at each game. We're going to try and predict a score and the scorers. And what we'll do is we'll go back and look at it as the weeks go on and see if we got any right. And just for a bit of crack, just for a bit of a laugh. So the first game back is against those minnows at Everton, 21st of June at the Old Lady. Thank God. It won't be rocking, of course, because there's not going to be anybody in it. How do you see this one going, lads? So what we'll do is we'll let Shawnee and Chris have a little chat about this one and see what you think.
I think we beat them. I think you want to
beat them after last year, won't you?
Yeah, definitely. I just think the hunger will be there as well. Like you said, the next 6 points are the most crucial 6 points Liverpool will ever pick up in the history of the Premier League so far. So I don't think going there and having to play with an empty stadium affects us. I think, if anything, it's worse for them, you know what I mean? Because you won't get the shy bags in the crowd at Goodison bleeding, booing 90 minutes of the game. So, I just think on quality, I think we've more quality. We're definitely a fitter side than Everton. I think we beat them.
The other thing with Everton is they're dropping like flies at the moment. I think they've got Yerry Mina out, Walcott's out, Gomez is out. That lad they signed in the summer who's injured. Yeah, and the other one is Delph. Delph apparently is a doubt now, so I think they've only got Davis Sigurdsson for central midfield. They've tried that before, and that it doesn't work as a central midfield too. And to be fair to Mina, Mina's probably their best centre back. So,
which is saying a lot, isn't it?
So there's a lot of things going in our favour, and Mr. Pickford is already talking, and every time Pickford talks, he has a bit of a Dejan Lovren about him. As soon as he talks, he sets himself up for a fall, and he very rarely delivers on when he talks himself up.
That's true. You love to see Jordan having a few chats. Peter, what are you thinking from our point of view? I assume we're all going for a win here, are we? An away win.
Yeah, an away win. I think Liverpool, like I said previously, they want to come out to the blocks early in these next couple of games to get this title wrapped up. I think, like the boys were just saying then, Everton's squad is severely depleted at the moment. I think I read in the Liverpool Echo tonight they only had 18 players training this week, and one or two of them, Delph and not sure who the other one was carrying slight knock. So they've had a lot of youngsters training with them as well. A lad called Anthony Gordon, who's supposed to be really highly rated, and he's on the verge of breaking through into the first team. So yeah, I just think that we're going to go over to Goodison Park, and I just think it'll be a convincing win for Liverpool. Everton could likely to get the odd goal, so I'll go with a 4-1 victory for Liverpool in that game.
4-1. So I'm happy to back you on that one. We go 4-1. And who do you fancy to get the goals for us in that game, Peter? Do you have any inkling for anybody in particular?
Yeah, I think Sadio Mane's looked really sharp, hasn't he? He scored in his in the games. We've had the practice matches against Blackburn again yesterday. Looks like he's been keeping himself really, really sharp, really fit. Minamino's another one. By all accounts, he's been really sharp in training. He's looked the part, and he's one to watch coming up. So with Mane too, Minamino, and obviously Mo Salah. He's our superstar. He's bound to go all over the Goodison Park, in my opinion.
Lovely stuff. And lads, what are you thinking? Have you along what lines are you going?
All right, 3-0 in the head.
I think.
Yeah, it's 3-0.
3-0. So we'll give you 3-0.
You go with 3-0, Chris.
Yeah, we'll have a clean sheet. We'll go with a clean sheet. If you got for goals, I agree with Mane because he loves going against the Blues. The one I think is Bobby, because Bobby just loves an away goal. That's what he does. It just does away goals for us. So they seem to be the main two I can think of for scoring. And then maybe Keita, because he just seems to be, all the talk seems to be, he seems to be the sharpest one back, which is nice to hear. And it sounds like Genie's picked up a bit of a niggle, so Salah. So, maybe this might be a game Genie sets out.
Yeah, happy to go with that then, boys. Mane, Bobby, and Keita, yeah, for the goals on a 3-0 for you, boys. And we're going for, what are we going, Pete? The Mane double, are we? And Minamino and Salah.
Yeah, Mane too, Minamino and Mo Salah, yeah.
Excellent. And then we'll move on to the next game 3 days later. Crystal Palace at home at Anfield. Again, I think we're going to romp the arse off these. I think we're going to really hit these for about 5 or 6. But I won't go over the top again. I'll divert there to Peter. What are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, I think Palace are one of them sides, aren't they, who are just below the European places, so they've still got a little bit of bit to play for with their season. So I think Palace are always one of them sides, aren't they, that sort of give us a tricky game with the likes of Zaha on the wing and the long ball game that they like to play, and hustle and bustle and things like that. That Crystal Palace always brings to Anfield. So yeah, I don't see us actually going out there and although I hope we do go out there and completely turn them apart. I'll go for a slightly more conservative scoreline in this one. I'll go for a 2-0 victory for Liverpool in this one.
Jesus, we're not meeting in the middle on this one at all. We'll go with 2-0. So, and who do you fancy for goals in this? Do you think now? But before we go on, do you think this could be one where he's just going to go full strength and then keep the sort of momentum with the sort of as minimum changes as possible? So we'll still be looking at the usual suspects playing these games.
Yeah, and I think it's a game for the likes of your creative players to try and come to the fore with the big 6 foot plus defenders that Crystal Palace have, the big midfield players. You're looking for someone who's going to weave in between, someone get in between the lines, the likes of a Keita or a Minamino or Shaqiri, someone like that. So I'll go with Naby Keita in this one, and possibly a set piece. So Virgil van Dijk, always a threat, isn't he? From a cross by Alexander Arnold, whether that's a corner, a free kick, save from the side with Robertson. So yeah, I'll go with Virgil van Dijk set piece for the Palace game.
Good stuff. Now to Chris and Shawnee, what are you two thinking on this one?
I don't know. See, the thing about making predictions here is that like it could be over by this stage because City play Burnley before then, and if they don't win, they have to win both of those games, or we'll be champions because I think we'll beat everything like we said. So it's hard to know. I think if this one varies for me, I think there's going to be a cagey game because it's going to be the one to do it, and I got 1-0. I think this could be like one of them 1-0ers, really.
I had 2-0 down, and the reason I had 2-0 is because it was only a 3-day turnaround, and I think he'll go same 11, which is why I put 2-0. And I think it'd be one of those horrible 2-0s where we might go up at 1-0 early, and then it'd be a typical Liverpool. We'll be waiting until like 85th, 86 minutes till we get a second, and it'll be horrible. So, and it'll be one of those that's horrible to watch. You know, we've had a few of them this season. I think it'd be one. I think 2-0, but I think it'd be one of those horrible 2-0s where it's 1-0 for ages, and then you nick it right at the end just to secure it.
Right. So, do you just want to go then with a 1-0? Give me a scorer for a 1.
Salah. 1-0 Salah.
And then you might get one in, Chris. You know, a late run in from Harvey Elliott. If that happens, we'll give you a bonus point at the end of the season.
All right, then I'll go with that.
So then we've got a break. We've got the only real break until the last game of the season. Yeah, so it's the FA Cup quarterfinals fall on the next weekend. So it's a break, and then it's Man City. Now, again, we're just doing this for a bit of a laugh. You know, it's hard to predict because, as Shawnee said, you don't know what the lay of the land is going to be. You know, we could be champions. They might not be bothering their arse putting out anyone of any note in this. Their court case is still going on. They might be looking at Champions League. You don't know what they're going to be in. But what way? I'll let you boys go first on this prediction here, Chris and Shawnee. So, how do you think the Man City game will fall?
I think this is the one game we drop points in. I think a 1-1 because I think, regardless of what happens, even we go in there as champions, I think both managers will have the same mentality, which is lay the marker for next year. They'll both go, this is how next season starts. So Guardiola will want to say, yeah, you're champions. Beat us. They want to beat us at the Etihad, then they can go, there's your marker. This is what we're going to do to you next year. And Liverpool will be the same. They'll be going, we want to prove we're champions and put a foot in the throat, which is what Fergie was always very good at, which is if he got a title won, he'd like to then get quite a decent win against his closest competitor to kind of go, we're still on top. So I think it'll be a 1-1. And we haven't got the best record at the Etihad. They're always good games. Unfortunately, we always need to go on the wrong side of the results. But in my head, I've got a 1-1 with Bobby scoring.
What do you think, Johnny?
I got 1-1. I got 1-1 as well. I reckon Virgil though. That could genuinely be one of the best games of football I'm going to see in the Premier League because one thing I've noticed since like the football's coming back is that there's a bit of an expressiveness about how the top teams are playing football at the moment. I think there's the intensity is not there because the crowd is not there. That's fair enough. But I think the other side of that is that there's nothing holding the players back from just expressing themselves. They're not going to be getting moaned at from fucking people 10 yards behind them in the stand sort of thing. So someone said Dylan Westwood there said City Stadium is always empty. Yeah, but that's fair enough. But I think this could be a really good game of football, but 1-1.
Yeah, fair enough, boys. Is agreed on that. Peter, what are you thinking for this one? City away.
Yeah, always one of the highlights of the season, isn't it? When we go up against Manchester City, and previously we've done quite well there, haven't we? In the Champions League, we went there and come away with a 2-1 victory. Then, although we was on the receiving end of that 5-0 scoreline a few seasons back when Mignolet was in goal. So yeah, I think I'm gonna side with a draw as well. Let's want a score draw. I think, like they were saying earlier, that it could be a really exciting open game. I think that will be the. I think it's going to be an end-to-end game. Goals at both ends. So yeah, 2-2 for me in this one.
2-2, excellent.
Score draw, yeah.
Who are you thinking? Anyone in particular for the goals in this one?
Yeah, I think you're looking at your strikers for this game. Obviously, it's a bit of a midfield battle with City, and it usually comes out to whoever wins that midfield battle in this fixture usually comes out on top. So, yeah, I think I'll go, Firmino likes a goal at the Etihad, doesn't he? He scored once or twice there, so I'll go with Bobby Firmino and Sadio Mane. He's another one who's always likely to pop up with a goal. So,
and he's looking sharp so far. In fairness,
2-2 Mane and
practice games he's
Firmino.
Excellent stuff. Now the next game, lads, is only 2 days later.
Looking superb.
Yeah, he certainly is. 2 days later, we play Villa at home. Peter, it's not much of a turn, not much of a break, is it? 2 days. I mean, could we see some form of rotation in the team at this? Do you think at this stage?
No.
You think he's going to go strong?
Yeah, most definitely with the game coming. No, I think he'll mix it up quite a lot. I think obviously the sports science team are very aware of the times and how much rest players need in between games. And I think obviously the title should have been wrapped up by this game. And then I think you'll see a lot of the younger lads playing in this fixture. Harvey Elliott, Jones, Williams. Still think he'll have 1 or 2 of the of his first choice 11 out there just to back the kids up. But I think you'll definitely see a lot of young players in that fixture. I know Aston Villa are struggling quite badly, aren't they? I know they lost the goalkeeper and Wesley, the striker, wasn't it? And I was just before we come onto the show, I was reading about the Premier League have said that the 25-man squad was put into the league before the start of the season. That can't be changed, even though we've had this big break and the clubs have asked for extra players to be added. They've turned around and said no, it's the 25-man squad that was submitted before the start of the season, unless it's you get special dispensation. So I think Aston Villa are going to be struggling as well, and I just think with us having plenty of room for the young lads to come in, I think we'll choose to go with them, and I'll say it'll be I'll go with a 1-1 draw in that game.
1-1, okay. And do you fancy any particular scorer? Will we see a new face, do you think, getting a goal in this one?
Yes, someone like a Curtis Jones, who's come good in the Derby game, didn't he? Scored when he captained the side in the FA Cup game. So he's going to want to impress, isn't he? Especially playing at Anfield in front of Klopp, playing for the first team. He's going to want to try and put his nose in there for next season and show the Klopp and the backroom staff what he's all about and what he can do and give them food for thought going into next season. Not just Jones or all the other young lads. Harvey Elliott's another one to me. He looks like he's bulked up a bit. He come in last season, didn't he? A little raw, skinny teenager, if you like. And he looking at him yesterday, he seems to have filled out a little bit. Even though he's only 17 years of age or whatever he is, it's one of them. Rooney made his debut at 16, didn't he? And other players have come in at a young age. So no matter how old you are, if you're good enough, then and you're ready for the Premier League, then so be it. And I think Klopp will understand that, obviously, and choose to go with Harvey Elliott in the likes of the Villa game. So yeah, real good opportunity for the young lads in the Villa game, I think.
But you still fancy the 1-1 and that. That's fine. Lads, what are you thinking on this one?
Yeah.
Villa away. Oh, Villa at home. Sorry, Villa at home.
We win. I think we win. And I don't think there'll be I don't think there'll be wholesale changes for that game. I think probably the team might look somewhat similar to what we played against Everton in the derby, Anfield. The likes of Origi and that thrown in, maybe Minamino. The another thing as well is like to give the youngsters minutes. We don't necessarily have to start them now because the 5 substitution rule means there's going to be plenty of room for that sort of movement in the second half of games. So I think we'll beat Villa. I think we'll beat Villa at home. Like they Villa, like Peter said, they haven't got the biggest of squads. They're already kind of struggling with injuries, and like us, they will be playing 3 games a week as well. So it's going to take it's going to all of the loadout coming into the last 9 games. It's going to take its toll on a lot of these smaller sides, especially sides who haven't got strength and depth like Villa, like Bournemouth, like even like Leicester. I think Leicester could struggle. I think we'll beat them.
Yeah, good stuff. I see Makar says that he heard Elliot has been taken under Salah's wing, getting him to do a few heavier weights and that, it's not a bad mentor to be having, is it? If you're a young player like Harvey Elliott who's looking to establish himself in that type of position, you're learning from the very best. It's not a bad shooter to have. Chris, what are you thinking in this one?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Shawnee. I think it'd be similar to the Everton 5-2 team. I think it's more like you've probably seen Origi. I think you'll see Milner at left back. I think we'll see Lallana start, which will mean Twitter will melt down because they always do when Lallana starts. But I've got to admit, it'll be a scruffy 2-0. I fancy Milner and Origi. It wouldn't surprise me if Firmino and Salah, say, 2 of the front 3, probably sit on the bench and probably don't come off the bench.
Yeah. And Shawnee, what are you thinking score-wise?
I'd say 2-0 as well.
2-0. Any particular scorers in mind? Are you happy with Milner or Origi?
I'll go Minamino getting his first official Liverpool league goal and Salah. I think because another one of these things is as well, these lads will want golden boots and stuff like that. It matters to them, like, you know what I mean? So they're going to be, I can't imagine them being happy to just sit out of games, the likes of Mane and Salah, who are still kind of in the running,
Yeah, I agree there. I think they could really be really kicking down the door of Klopp's office to be saying, look, I want to be playing these games. And you'll see forwards like Harry Kane and Aubameyang, they'll plunder in goals in these sort of dead rubber meaningless matches, and that'll boost their golden boot chances. And Klopp is a humanist after all. He will look at the human side and it's see that these lads do want to be the top scorer, and I think he will play them an awful lot as well. I think the 5 sub rule could play into it, where you might see players get, because is the rule going to be the same as in Germany, where they have to you can only make 3 substitutions, so you can only have 3 stoppages, so you can do 2 at one time.
Yeah,
but you can't do 5 stoppages. You can't do 5 individual subs. So you might see the likes of maybe Harvey Elliott getting a first half even, or Keanu Hoover getting a first half, and then bringing the other lads on, giving them, I think there will be a lot of game management going on, which is nice, you know what I mean? So you boys are both happy on a 2-0. We're going for a 1-1 there. Before we move on, I just want to say again, if anyone's watching us on Periscope, lads, if you can consider just having a look on YouTube and switching over to that if possible. If not, look, watch us wherever you want. We're happy that you are joining us at the end of the day. But if there's anything that you can switch over to the YouTube channel, bang the like button, the subscribe, that'd be great. So
I think also read with Salah. I think we'll read with Salah though. If he gets it this year, top goal scorer, he'll only be the 3rd player to ever get it 3 years running. I think he puts him in the Shearer and Henry bracket, because they're the other 2 in the Premier League who've been top goal scorer 3 years running.
And I suppose at the end of the day, it is an important stat, isn't it, for these guys? Personal accolades are a big deal at the end of the day.
Yeah, and to be fair, and Manny's just very competitive, so he was joint last year, so he'd be like, well, I want to get it on my own, or I want to get joint again. So for me, I'm not saying he doesn't care about goals, but he seems to get as much pleasure from supplying and as scoring as Salah and Mane are greedy for goals, which is not a bad thing. So
Yeah,
I think Klopp's got a job telling them, lads, look, I'm resting you.
Yeah.
I just don't think they want to be rested.
Salah and Mane are going. I suppose they're looking to be the African Player of the Year every year as well, and they're battling with Aubameyang for that. And I suppose if you come out on the top of that particular, individual chart, it does stand when the individual awards will come, even at the African awards and things like that. So it's an interesting one, all right. So now we move on. 4 days after Villa, we play Brighton away. A game that Brighton seem to be dreading because they're doing everything in their power not to get these games played. Again, I'm very much, I can't see us dropping many points in this particular run. Brighton away, I can't see us dropping any points in this. I can only see a win. We'll take this one first. Peter, how do you see this one going?
Yeah, like you say, Brighton are one of the teams who are not looking at coming back favourable, are they? They're trying to make up any sort of excuse, and the chairman and the managers are all ones who've come out opposing the restart of the Premier League. So, yeah, I think it's an opportunity for us to go down there. Say there's not going to be a crowd putting the lads off. There's not going to be that intensity. I think it's pretty going to be much like a routine win for Liverpool, straightforward. And I'll go with a 3-0 victory for Liverpool in that fixture.
Good stuff. Any particular scorers?
I think Salah's got a goal there previously. I think I like to tend to go with the players that's done well at stadiums.
Happy hunting grounds.
Previously, obviously they got a feel for the place. So, yeah. Mo Salah, I think he got a pen there last season, wasn't it? Did we win 1-0? He scored a penalty. So I'll go with Salah to get 2. And let's pick a different one. Jordan Henderson. We'll go with Henderson to get an away goal against Brighton, yeah.
To boil the piss of Liverpool FC Twitter. Excellent. Lad. Brighton away, how are you feeling?
I've just put routine.
Doesn't say much.
True.
Yeah. I took the Brighton game as a routine 2-0. Salah, and I put Trent down just something a bit different. I don't know what it is. The last couple of trips to Brighton have all been 1-0. That's probably because of the crowds, but it just seems one of those sides that we beat, but it doesn't always seem to be like a. It always seems to be hard to get the first goal against Brighton. Once we do, we're fine, but they just need to be a little bit of an awkward side for us to break that. I don't know why, because on paper there should be a side we should be beating quite easily.
Yeah, true. That's true. Shawnee, how are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, I would say a routine 2-0 as well. Routine 2-0.
Lovely stuff. Any particular scorers for you?
Going Mane with a brace.
Mane double. Love to see it. Excellent stuff. Now, we move on then 3 days later, Burnley at home. Big Sean Dyche getting his team up for it, putting it in the mixer and all them northern stereotypes. Boys, we'll let you have a run at this one. How do you think Burnley will do? Burnley?
I reckon this is a complete dead rubber. They're in the middle of the to be a training session. I reckon we'll beat them.
Yeah.
I reckon there will be a few changes in there again. See that being 3-1, I'd say. Jesus, going by this, lads, we're going to get 109, 107 points.
Oh, yeah. Rightly so. Rightly so. So you're going 3-1. Have you any scorers or in mind?
Salah, Van Dijk, and Salah.
Van Dijk. Grand.
And Keith Hendrick getting a one just before his move to AC Milan.
That's it. Yeah, the big signing for the Rossoneri. Jeff Hen. Does he not have a? No, I won't go down into that. I won't talk about tags or anything on him. Chris, how are you feeling on Burnley?
Absolutely. I've got 3-1 as well, because Burnley always seems to score at home against us, but we always seem to find a way.
Yeah.
I've got VVD, Salah, and I think that's when Minamino gets his goal.
Excellent. Peter, what do you think we'll do on this?
Yeah, Burnley, it's always a tough game, like you say, isn't it? The stereotypical long ball team coming over from Lancashire and, like you say, trying to put it into the mix. It rough us up a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be one of them types of games because, like you say, it's not much to play for. Title will be sewn up. I don't think Burnley's got much to play for, safe from relegation. Pretty much be a stroll in the park for both teams, and I think we'll cruise out with a 2-0 victory. I think someone like an Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has always done well against Burnley in the past. Not had much of a mention. He's not had much of a mention. Always picked up a slight injury, but when he's on his day, he's a real player for us. So yeah, I'll go with Oxlade-Chamberlain, and let's see, go with someone else a bit different. Go with Gini Wijnaldum. He's another player who can pop up with the odd goal. Doesn't score a great deal, but always chips in with 2 or 3 a season. So I think this could be a game where Wijnaldum could get on the score sheet.
Yeah, that's true. And the Ox is a good shout for a game like that as well, because they're not an expansive team. Burnley, they're gonna sit there. Sean Dyche is gonna line up all his players, make them stand against the wall, and say, right, the 4 biggest, yous are all going at the back. The next 4 biggest are all going to midfield, and the 2 up front are going to be 2 big hams as well. So there could be little spaces, little pockets that open up for Oxlade-Chamberlain to operate in and get on. One of them long-range shots of his. So they could be a good show. Dyche will probably have them cycling to Anfield from Burnley and then cycling back. He's one of these old-school types. So, that might take it out of them. We'll see.
I also think that's a game that Lallana starts.
Another Lallana game, is it? Another one of the farewell tour?
I think he always seems to play against Burnley.
Yeah.
Home and away, he always starts against Burnley. And you wouldn't think he's the type of player for Burnley because of how physical they are, but
he usually does well.
He just seems to love a Burnley game. So, and also, Klopp will just do it to piss Twitter off.
Yeah. You'd like to think that. Well, you'd love to see it.
It wouldn't surprise. I know, it wouldn't surprise. That's something he'd do.
Yeah. So then we go 4 days later. We move on to Arsenal away. Do we treat them with the disrespect they deserve, or is this going to be a tricky game? We go with Shawnee for this one. He's shaking his head there.
Arsenal away always bugs the piss out of me.
Yeah.
I feel like we always go there and give them too much respect.
Yeah.
I feel like we always go there and give them too much respect. We let them in the game. What score was it there last year? Last year it was 1-1 there, and we battered them. And then the years previous we were 3-1 up cruising, and we let them back into the game again. Judging by what I seen from them against Brentford the other day, in a really bad spot. They're another team who's kind of too far away from being in the Champions League places. But that being said, in the league, Arteta has made them a difficult team to beat, which is not very Arsenal-like. I'd say a 1-1 draw. The Etihad. Or the Emirates even, same thing.
Same thing. They're all the one crowd, aren't they? It's all money laundering and fucking...
Firmino to get the goal.
Bobby, si, senor. Chris, what are you thinking on that one?
Are Arsenal still in the FA Cup? Because I know they bombed out the Europa. Have they got anything to play for other than Europe now?
I don't know. Are they?
Because I think I've got a feeling I've got a feeling by this point, 3 games to go. I think Arsenal are out the running for top 4, top 6. I think they'll be done by then. and I
They
think
are
we'll
still
get a
in the
2-1
cup, yeah.
win. Then
2-1 win.
I think that's if they get past the quarterfinals.
They have Sheffield United away. Sheffield United away in the FA Cup.
Yeah, which I think, although it doesn't, you wouldn't think so, but I think they'd win that because I think Sheffield United have got a real chance of Champions League, and I wouldn't blame them if they were like prioritise that over FA Cup. So if Arsenal's in the FA Cup, I think they go for that because I just can't see them getting Europe in a league position. I've got 2-1 because they ultimately, as good as they are going forward, and they've got some real talent. You know, the young Brazilian Martinelli looks talented.
You know, yeah, he looks good.
I like the young kid Saka, who plays left back for him. But ultimately, this is still a side that has David Luiz, Socrates, Mustafi. You know, it's like watching Liverpool end of Rodgers' first season under Klopp when we had Torres, Skirtle. You know, they're all of that ilk where they can be good on their day. The day just doesn't come very often. And David Luiz against us has a rick in him every time. So I've gone 2-1, Manny and Bobby.
Manny and Bobby. And if you saw Shawnee mentioned about them being beaten by Brentford. Was it Brent? Yeah, Brentford it was. And some of the defending, Jesus Christ. I'm hoping they carry that forward a few weeks into our game. We'll have a field day.
Yeah, I saw that because Arsenal Twitter have been going at United, haven't they? Because United got beaten. They played 2 friendlies on the same day. They got beaten one and won the other. So
yeah, you know, people are reading too much into these things, but I'm liking to read into it as well. You know, I think Arsenal look bleeding pony in their one, so hopefully they could be done and dusted by the time we get near them. Peter, what are you thinking on this Arsenal?
Yeah, it's always been a bit of a difficult away fixture for us, hasn't it? But that's when the crowd's there and behind them. It's going to be a totally different scenario this time with no fans in the stadium. I think Liverpool will probably go a little bit stronger in this game because obviously they're one of the top end teams and don't want to go there and suffer a defeat coming towards the end of the season. So they're going to want to continue with a little bit of momentum. So I think we'll go down there. It won't be. It won't be. It'll be a close game, I think. Sorry, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory for Liverpool in this fixture away at the Emirates. I'll go with Mane to score in this one, and let me see. Go with another set piece. Go with Trent Alexander-Arnold for this one. Bit of a different shout.
Why not throw a little special one in there? Avo in the chat put up that he doesn't think they have 8 wins all season. You're doing them a disservice, Avo. They have 9 wins. Arsenal, it's they're in
draws and like that.
9th position in the league. They've had 9 wins, which is less than 1, 2, 3, 4 of the teams below them have had more wins than Arsenal this season. They're an absolute basket case. They're hard to beat since Arteta came in, as Shawnee said, but I think they've only won once in the league, you know, so they're a club in transition, and hopefully we've seen them, we've given them absolute lickings and then gone to them and sort of paid them too much respect. I agree with what Shawnee said, so I hope we don't do that. It's one of the things that I think Klopp could improve on is maybe playing some of these teams. United is one he does as well quite regular, that he gives them too much respect and usually fall on our face a bit with them. So hopefully we go in there and we can smash them up.
This season seems to be a season where we have sort of rectified most of it. United still we haven't done, but you know, things like the Leicester draws, the West Ham draws, you know, silly draws at home to Everton. He sort of slowly started to eliminate them out. I think there's only really Old Trafford where we still seem to have an absolute hoodoo. I can't get my head around it. But most of the others this season, he does seem to have found a way. I think he's sort of got in his head now from last year is draws ain't good enough. We have to go for the win. Yeah,
it's a big difference, a big change, isn't it? Which is good. You know, we like to see that.
Yeah.
Then we move on then to our last home game of the season. Now, everyone, right, is this, we still get our trophy on this day, is it? Or is there going to be any special video link fucking trophy presentation? We'll still take it. This will be the day we get to get the trophy. It's Chelsea at home. Chelsea are amazing now with Werner and Havertz and Pele and Garrincha in that team. None of them will be eligible to play against us, thankfully, on this day. But, you know, they're a decent team, Chelsea. You know, can be flippant about it, but they are a decent team. How do we see this one going, Peter? What are you thinking on this? Do you think it's a fiesta, or is it going to be a siesta? Is it going to be a snooze or a party on the day?
I think I'm more tending to go towards the party for this game. Like you say, it's probably the day when they can lift the title, all the pressure's off. And I think the lads they've done well against Chelsea in the Premier League in previous seasons. I remember Salah scored that rocket of a strike last season, didn't he? And they're always a team that Liverpool like to get one over. There's been a rivalry over the past decade or so, hasn't there, with Chelsea and the Champions League semi-finals, and going back to 2005 as well. So yeah, there's a sort of a mini history there between us, obviously, and it's one of them teams that we don't like to get beat by. The team when we was going for the title under Brendan Rodgers and done us, didn't he, with that 2-0 victory. That's another one that we like to try and put right. So yeah, it's always a game that Liverpool want to win, and I think we will win this fixture. It's going to be like you say, like a party atmosphere, carnival atmosphere. Fans are going to be celebrating around the country, around the world. So yeah, I'll go with a 3-1 victory for Liverpool in this game against Chelsea.
Any particular scorers?
Yeah, I'll go with Salah again. I'll go with Firmino. I'll go with Firmino to score 2 in this game, and Mo Salah to score 1.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Chris, what are you thinking on this?
I've got this down as a draw 2-2, only because I still think they'll be in a battle for top 4, top 5. And as much as we'll have won the trophy and we'd like to get a win in the last home game, all our games against Chelsea, they're always 2-1, 2-2, 3. They're always very tight. So I've just got a feeling it'll be an entertaining 2-2. That's what I've got.
Why not? Who would you fancy to score?
I've got Salah and Van Dijk.
Salah and George. Shawnee.
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0. Who do you fancy to get the goals?
That's Mane to get both.
Lovely stuff. I love a Mane brace.
I think that should be the day when we're crowned, you know. So
yeah,
I could to be a fire light there for us, whether they're going for top 4 or not.
Yeah,
but better. You haven't got Hazard anymore, so I don't lose sleep the night before the Chelsea game anymore.
That's true. Yeah.
N'Golo
Kante will make his second appearance of the season, or his third if you include the Super Cup. So he might put in another worldy performance, as he tends to do. But you know, I agree. I think the party atmosphere could be what gets us over the line. We've waited too long for this, and with the fact that there's not going to be a crowd there, I think we'll play into the, you know, there'll be no tension. The players will just go out there and play, and yeah, I can see there being a party that day as well. So I think we're all.
I have a feeling that there could be fans in the stadium.
Do you think the Porto type where they all climb on the roof with flares and all?
You see today, Spain are talking about having 10 to 15% capacity in the stadiums before the season is out, and Germany the same. So I wouldn't be surprised
if something's done.
I would not be
optimistic.
It is being optimistic, but it does seem like the football is starting to move that towards that already. You know what I mean? Like, because Spain and Germany have already talked about trying to do it and doing it in a way that we'll see. Maybe, you never know.
Good stuff. Stephen O'Connor has been nicely bitter there. He'd love to stop Chelsea getting 4 points in one of our dead rubbers. So I like that. I like that optimism there. That's the kind of snide I can get behind.
Me too. Did he go about the trophy? I'm sure I've read somewhere before they've said because there is always the risk of a second wave. I'm sure they've said as soon as Liverpool have got it won, that whether the next home game is, say it's Palace or say we win it at City, I'm sure they said they'll give us a trophy at the next home game, just so we have the chance to parade it, lift it in case there is a second wave. So I think we may have, if we've already got it won by then, we may have the trophy lift done before then.
Yeah,
I don't care when we get it, as long as I see Henderson do his shuffle, I don't really mind.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
Exactly. Yeah, once he's shuffling that little trademark shuffle that he has going, that half of the Liverpool fan base absolutely adore and half of them absolutely despise, makes it all the sweeter. So I'm all for that whenever that happens. If it's done by Zoom and when it's just sent out to us, I'll live with that as well. We'll get on to next season. So the last game of the season, boys, brings us to Newcastle away. Newcastle away. Newcastle might be in buoyant mood at this stage. They may have new owners. They may have the richest club in the world by a country mile. And you may be looking at the summer or whenever the transfer window opens to bring in players of all sorts of price tags and caliber. Can you see us at this point easing off, or are we still pushing? I haven't totted up what we think we'll get points-wise, but are we still going to be looking at records? Peter, what do you think? Are we going to be trying to smash this one as well? Sign off in style?
Quite possibly, yeah. I think with it being the last game of the season, I think Klopp will want to utilise his squad, won't he, and give as many people a run out as possible. So with the maximum of 5 substitutions as well now, isn't there? So I think it's going to be a game where obviously the foot's going to be off the gas for both teams. It's not going to be any sort of intense game by any stretch. It's going to be a pretty simple game for both teams, and it'll probably fizzle out into a draw. I don't think it'll be of any importance to Jurgen Klopp to finish the season with a victory. I think it'll just be, as long as we've won that title, he's happy to start planning ahead for next season. So I think he'll choose to throw a few of the younger lads into this game, get them some experience at a big away stadium like St James's Park, and probably go with a majority of young kids in the final game. So I'll go with a 1-1 line for the 1-1. Newcastle game, last game.
Who do you fancy to score?
I have to go with someone like Divock Origi, who'll probably be one of the elder statesmen in that game.
Yeah, good show. Lads, Chris, I'll start with you. What are you thinking for that final game?
I think we smash them 4-0.
I love it. Why not?
The reason being is I just think title will be won by then. Newcastle are safe, and it'd be very Mike Ashley, Newcastle, his last game in charge of Newcastle. It'd be symbolic for him to get smashed because the man does nothing for that club. He does nothing. So, and to be honest, we very rarely beat Steve Bruce side comfortably. So, I think he might go full strength, and tell them to rattle up a quick lead, and then you'll see wholesale, 2-on, 2-on, 1-on to give the kids a bit of a run out. Yeah. So I think this might be one of the few games, I'm not even sure if it's happened this season, but one of the few games where all of the front three score. And then for a wild card, because I predict it every year, and it's never happened yet. So I may as well, hopefully it's the year we win the title and our last game of the season, Joe Gomez finally breaks his duck. I think he's the only player who's not broke his duck yet for us in the outfield. So that's my sort of like cherry on the top.
Last game of the season, last kick. Corner whipped in, big Joe Gomez gets up there, puts the old lid on it. Lovely stuff. You can't beat it.
Yeah, I don't care if it's fair and tell. It'd be quite nice to just once, last game of the season, already champions, and just champagne footballs and pack off Mike Ashley as well. It'd be great.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Shawnee, what are you thinking on this?
2-2. I think 2-2. I see Curtis Jones getting one, actually.
Lovely stuff.
That'd be good.
Jones and Lallana. Lallana's last game. Be nice.
Jones and Lallana. Lovely. Yeah. A penno or something. Really annoy everyone.
Something like that, yeah. It'd be nice for him because just real quick on Lallana, he gotten a bit of stick in the last couple of years from the fans, but Klopp talked about him there as him being one of his first lieutenants or the generals of his era when he came in. He was the main man. He was the trigger for the press. He was always professional. And to be fair, this year when he come on and played, he was actually very good.
Yeah.
A lot of the times he made cameos, and then it's great that he got to stick around and he'll have his moment now because he'll leave Liverpool now after a big money move from Southampton as a Champions League winner and the Premier League winner, and that's great for him, Adam Lallana, and wish him all the best wherever he ends up. And he looks like he even might get a move to Leicester, so he could be playing in the Champions League again next year. So big Lallana fan, and although sorry to see him go, it's he's been a great professional for us, and I wish him all the best.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think it's one of them. When you look back at Klopp's early days at the club, he was the one. You're right. He was the midfielder who took on the press, wasn't he? He ran himself into the ground. I know other players got into it, but I think he took it the quickest. He was the one that really embraced it, and he was Klopp's go-to guy in that first year or so. And then the body just broke down on him, and he just didn't have physically. He just couldn't do it, and it is a shame because I don't understand people. I think he's been a good servant for us, and I'd love him to go out on a high. And I think it'd be nice, So fair play if he can do something like that. It'd be nice. And do we think so? Let's have a look. So that's our last game.
Based on that logic, then we'll have 103 points, won't we? I reckon that's. I think I went for 3 draws.
So I got 105, I think. Yeah. So.
Yeah,
and I was curious before they came on. The most points ever in a 35-game league season was in Wales, and it was 105. And you have the likes of Neville and others and Troy Deeney trying to detract from this title win to say that it'll be this and that. It'd be great for the boys to go and break a Premier League total of points, and then maybe even an all-point total of points over a 38-game season. Because look, when the history books are written, it's not going to say anything about COVID-19. COVID-19 isn't even in the papers anymore.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to go something like that.
Yeah. Also, if we get to 103, that's 200 points over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Which again is a record. Even Guardiola's 100-point side.
And we see.
I say only, but they go 198 over 2 seasons, which is still a mad. I don't know how long clubs like us can keep doing this level of points because it's crazy sort of points numbers. It's great to watch, it's great to be a part of it, but it is like, I never thought I'd see a Liverpool side get to 95, let alone talking about 100-point seasons. It's great. I mean, echoing the Lallana situation, my frustration with when people have a go at people like Lallana is he can't help being injured. It's not like he's injured because he did an Andy Carroll where he's out not living properly, he's out, on the lash. It's none of that. It's just he's really unlucky, and some people, they just pick up a lot of injuries. To me, he's got a little bit of the Vladdy Smeeters about him, which is he's got the talent that you want, but his body just lets him down. And to me, if Lallana's body wasn't letting him down, he wouldn't be leaving Liverpool this summer. He'd still be an integral. He would be playing a lot more. He'd be used a lot more than he is because the talent, the ability, the work ethic is never in question. He's just very, very unfortunate. His body lets him down. Listen, I think if he goes to Leicester, I think he'd be great. He's probably just what they need. An experienced head, especially in Europe. Someone Rodgers trusts as well, but someone who isn't going to rock the boat if he's benched for a couple of weeks or, and he can dip him in, dip him out. So he'd be great for like a squad harmony thing for Lallana. And people like Harvey Barnes, they'll learn so much of a Lallana.
Good role model.
This is how you get to the next level, like we have with Milner and Henderson, and they do that with the youngsters. Lallana did that for Leicester. I think he'll be an asset wherever he goes.
Yeah. Another Badger Wolf just put in there, does the same that Klein is being shafted, another player that's going to be on the way out. And this is a player that I don't think will have many there'll be no tears really when Klein leaves. He's been unlucky with injuries, but I don't think, you can read rumours and all that sort of thing, but
there are rumours.
I don't know.
He's not played. He's played like 2 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
it's not his fault, but he's not really part of it. And you can always tell when a player's injured. Klopp talks about injured players, or he's doing well. Bruce will be back soon. Chamberlain, he's doing really well, and then and he has to be prompted by the press. And Klein, he goes, "Oh no, he'll be back soon." The fact is, he never brings him up, which is very un-Klopp-like. He doesn't bring Klein up. Where anywhere else, when Chamberlain's out, when Brewster's out, when Lallana's out, he always talks about them. Talks when they're coming back, gives you updates. And Klein, he just doesn't mention him. Don't know why, but he doesn't. So
it's unusual.
I can't really feel. I don't know why you give an extension when he's not played for 2.5 years. Whereas Lallana, I know he's been injured, but he has contributed this year. He has contributed in the previous 3 or 4 years. So that makes more sense. And Lonergan got his extension because he just needs a third choice goalie, just in case something freakish happens.
Yeah, that's it. Just covering, isn't it?
I think Lonergan. I think Lonergan got the extension because the training.
Yeah,
I read that he's been great in training with the goalkeeper coach and the 2 lads. So I think Lonergan probably won't even get a medal. I think the club will give him one. I think they'll be, but I think Klopp just wants him around there to be in that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's like a mini team within the team, isn't it? Like the goalkeeper,
I think
the coach, nearly.
The sort of you do get there's a family sort of vibe with the team now, and even throughout rehab, when we seen Chamberlain was injured last year, he was still prominent in the dressing room. He was still around.
Yeah,
we never seen that from Klein.
Yeah.
I don't think he's being left out in the cold. I just don't think Klein put himself in the position to be warranted to be kept around to give him. So what's the point of Liverpool paying Klein's wages for another 6 weeks?
Yeah,
when he hasn't really, he hasn't done himself any favors. I don't think Klein off the pitch. There is speculation, but there's no smoke without fire, as they say. Lallana has been integral to Klopp's implementation to the style over the years, so that's why he was kept.
Yeah.
He's still training at the academy. He's not even training with the first team, which
exactly
is telling us something. There's something behind the scenes that's not quite right. We'll never know what.
No.
And Klein ain't going to tell us, and Klopp ain't going to tell us. So, and rumours are rumours, but if you're injured and you're a first team player and you're told you're training with the reserves, there's something going on there. Now, look, maybe Klein's had enough. Maybe he's just like, I want to go. I'm injured. I'm not happy, and maybe Klopp just wants him out of the team atmosphere because he's not happy. Look, Klein when he's fit is a good right back. I mean, when we signed him, I thought he was our next Steve Finnan. I was actually quite excited when we got him. He's been a bit unlucky, partly because as soon as he got injured, Trent arrived, and that was it then.
And I suppose you've Nico Williams is breathing down on the right wing at the right back position, and you've Keanu Hoover there as well. So there's young players coming up that are worth investing the time in. Listen, speaking of time, lads, I won't keep you any longer. So Peter, thanks very much for joining me tonight. Peter's predicting 21 points for the Reds from now till the end of the season, which will put us on 103, which is good going. I think we'll all be happy with that. So Peter, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. Enjoyed it. Thanks again.
Not at all. Anytime. Chris, I think I'm totting you up to give us 25 points. Will that be right from your calculations?
I've got 23, so.
Right, 23, that's fine. So you're giving us then, 105 points for, which is even better, Who's going to argue with that? And Shawnee...
Getting all starry-eyed.
Well, that's it. And Shawnee, I think you have us in around 103 as well, have you?
Yeah,
so we're all in around the same ballpark. Now, I didn't do my scores on this. I let Peter run with it, but I had us winning every game by about 6 or 7. So I think I've won 126 points or something. But I'm an optimist like that. I'm an optimist. So listen, lads, just want to thank you all for joining me tonight and doing that. It was an enjoyable show. Before everyone goes, again, if you can look at switching over to YouTube if possible for future shows, that'd be great. And just want to again thank you all for coming, and we'll see us all again soon.
See you later, boys.